Great. So hello everyone, I am Olivia and I'm currently in my second year of studies here at Goldsmiths. So I'm just going to talk to you a bit on my favourite modules and the activities so far that I've done in my time at Goldsmiths. To start, the range of modules that Goldsmiths offers in the law course is really well-rounded and does allow for some selection of your own in years 2 and years 3 to cater better to your own interests. In year 1, I found that criminal law was perhaps the most exciting topic to cover, as I'm sure would probably be a popular opinion within my cohort. The lectures are really interesting and they help you apply some real law to the crime shows that I'm sure we've all been watching during lockdown. I'm too deep into too many of them at the moment. Last year, when I studied criminal law, we even had the opportunity to apply our theoretical knowledge to a practical scenario in the Royal Courts of Justice in the form of a mock trial. I was allocated the role of the judge, and as well as being a useful academic activity, it was just fun to meet up with the rest of my course outside of a lecture hall. While that's a bit more difficult this year, it's something that Goldsmiths has done really well in my experience here. Prior to the pandemic sort of taking over, there was a really good sort of social atmosphere amongst the cohort. We'd go out and do stuff together, get lunch, that sort of thing. There were, of course, activities related to the course itself, but also socials in the form of get-togethers in the SU and a quiz at Christmas with prizes, of course. Aside from this, you'll usually find yourself getting lunch with friends off your course at one of the little cafes or pubs in New Cross. I would personally recommend Fat Slice or the New Cross House for a nice meal after class. In my second year, my favourite module has been very hard to specify. I'm currently at a 4-way tie between land law, trusts, intellectual property and tort. It's hugely interesting this year, and it actually goes so much deeper into the stuff that you sort of scratch the surface of in first year. They're all very different topics, but all very interesting. One topic that I particularly enjoyed in land law was a virtual moot that Fabian and I did together, actually. It was a really effective way to see how all of our textbook knowledge would sort of apply to real legal scenarios. And it required formatting your skeleton argument, sort of as it would be in actual courts. So it made me feel more prepared in that sense, as some of these documents can look very intimidating on the face of it, but Fatima really did it really well, and she sort of helped loads. If you ever have a question, she's always answering back within about 3 minutes. Tort has also been really engaging this year, with a heavy emphasis on problem questions as a response to the student feedback that we'd like more prep in this area. And this is one demonstration of how the department listens to the cohort and develops itself constantly based on the feedback we give, which creates a really good relation between faculty and student body. Reflecting back on first year, we've had so many opportunities to take part in activities outside of the lecture hall, including a tour and competition law lecture at the Magic Circle law firm Linklaters, which I found hugely interesting. The firm was beyond impressive. It was, it really motivates you as to, what sort of area you want to go down to in law. And we did a very similar thing at Facebook also in London, which was, again, hugely popular. Everyone was so excited to go. And like I said, we did mock trials at the Royal Courts of Justice, and we did have an experience at the Supreme Court as well, which was huge. The time we spent at Linklaters was the most valuable of these experiences for me personally, as it gave an exciting opportunity to meet one of the barristers at Linklaters, as well as a trainee solicitor who was doing seats in the various departments there. Looking and hearing about the work that she did was really informative regarding what to expect post-graduation when working for a firm or chambers myself. I just wanted to touch upon the opportunities on an individual level that the department provides for you as a law student at Goldsmiths. So right now I'm partaking in a clinic led by Aaron Taylor on international fraud and corruption. And I'm currently working on a presentation with a year 1 student because I've tried to sort of mesh it together so that there's a year 2 student, year 1 student each group, concerning conventions governing bribery and the wider umbrella term of corruption itself. The clinics offered are a fantastic way to bolster your CV and expand your legal knowledge in areas that can't be squeezed into the curriculum, or areas that perhaps you'd like to delve in further into, such as, I did do immigration, but the clinic is also available, which, allows you to go more deeply into it and perhaps take a more personal look at, an impersonal topic, really. More than that, topics like fraud and corruption and immigration. They're just really interesting. So more than just a CV booster, it is something that I think you'll take probably genuine interest in. Previously, though, the department has also provided us with opportunities to have practical work experiences and mini pupilages in the city. A couple of examples of this would be the mini pupilages at Chancery Lane, which were available through a piece of writing you had to complete, with the top 2 pieces winning pupilages, and also the pro bono positions that a few members of my cohort have taken on last year, and I think some of them are doing virtual ones this year, available at law centres, which look really good in your CV. So I'd highly recommend, if you do come to Goldsmiths, get so much involved with the cohort, because by the time you're here, it'll hopefully be back to normal. That's the end of my little talk. Thank you so much for listening.
Olivia, thank you so much for all this. I mean, that was excellent, very, very insightful, and I know how engaged you've been, and so you're really well placed to reflect on what the experience has been. And I suppose it also raises a broader observation, a broader point about the need for students to consider their ability to strike a good balance between learning and preparing for lectures and seminars, but at the same time, I mean, leading on and taking on all the opportunities that come their way. Did you find it challenging striking that balance between the two elements?
I think there is a temptation when you first start to get yourself involved with as many things as humanly possible. But as you sort of get into the course a bit more, I think you'll realize you've got to make sure you get your essential readings done. And then from there, you can sort of prioritize however you'd like. Get involved with the Law Society, the magazine, the clinics. There's so many opportunities. You've just got to make sure you allocate yourself time to do them all, and then time to also just back away from it.
I mean, on that note, interestingly, one of our prospective students is asking about the specific time that we dedicate to lectures, to seminars, to activities. And of course, I can discuss all that, but I was also wondering, I will ask Fabian as well, your experience, your feeling about how much time is spent in lectures, in seminars, in activities, and how much time that leaves for all the other activities that you were reflecting on. I mean, I know that you're also very actively engaged with the society, for instance. I've seen the pieces you've recently done for the magazine. They were great. And so, yes, that general feeling about the structure of your week, so to speak.
I think that the structure of our weeks has been done really well in both year 1 and year 2, because what the department has done is it's always a 2-hour lecture, and it's always a 1-hour seminar, and it'll be clearly specified on the VLE where you're supposed to be at what time, and the activities will usually be incorporated either on your Wednesday activity slot or within the lecture itself if it's sort of an in-lecture activity. And usually they'll try and make sure that you've got 1 day a week where you've got absolutely nothing, but generally you will have 2. So usually you've got your Wednesdays unless you've got an activity, and I have my Fridays, but I think the year 1s have Thursdays this year. So you do have a lot of free time in that respect. You only got 3 days a week usually in which you've got lectures, and you're never really doing it for more than 5-ish hours in a day. So, and there's breaks in between. They structure the lectures really well. So usually you either have, 2 5 to 10 minute breaks just to space it out. Because obviously it can be quite hard to engage the way you would if you were in class when you're, probably sat in your pajamas at home. So they've sort of spaced it out really well, and it does actually, I found it quite easy to learn from home in this regard because of the structure. You just create your own routine, and once you're in it, you're absolutely, plain sailing.
Olivia, thank you so much. It was great to see you, and thanks for your continued support.
Thank you very much.
Fabian, good afternoon. Please come in this. Hello, how are you, Fabian? It's good to see you.
Very well. Good to see you, Demetrius. I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Very well, very well. So very much looking forward to hearing from you too. So Fabian, us, Olivia, they're extremely engaged. There isn't one thing that they haven't been involved with, despite Olivia's attempt to say that they've been resisting the temptation to engage with as many opportunities as as they might be available. I think both Fabian and Olivia have done that with success. Engage. You both have, and then a few other students too, especially those in the student society, have a great capacity to engage with a lot and still retain control.
Thank you very much. I pride myself on it.
Well deserved. So Fabian, yes, we're looking forward to hearing your thoughts on different aspects of the program that you might wish to concentrate upon.
Excellent, thank you. So I thought I would focus a bit on some of the activities that we've done. As Dimitrios and Olivia made clear, there's a really good structure, and there's quite a lot of emphasis on practical legal activities. So as Olivia mentioned, we went to the Supreme Court. We went and we did a mock trial in the Royal Courts of Justice. Olivia was the judge. I was the prosecuting barrister, which I really enjoyed because I want to be a barrister. So I really enjoyed grilling the witness on the stand and cross-examining everybody and giving closing statements. That was really, really fun. And it really gave you an ability to put yourself in that position and feel it and can really experience what it might be like to in the future be in that actual role, and acting out your degree. So that was really, really good fun. And it kind of really cemented my ideas of being a barrister. Another really good experience we had, which again was immersive, was the jury experience, which I think was the first activity that I did. And it was run in association with an art and theatre company, I believe. They gave us essentially tablets, and we'd be given a scenario, which involved a young lady who had accused a man of attempted sexual assault. And we were the jury. There were 12 of us. We had to review the evidence and give verdict, basically. And that was really eye-opening experience into what a jury actually does. Because, you can intellectually appreciate what it is that a jury does, but to actually be in that position, to be presented with evidence that was, not conclusive. You had to kind of use your own judgment to determine whether or not you thought it was sufficient to put this man away for a long period of time, or whether or not she perhaps was confused, or, whatever the case may be. But it was it opened up your empathy into experiencing what it is a jury has to do, what it is barristers do when they're presenting to juries, and just really opened up the entire experience to us. Really, 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 really enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed it. I think most of us gave verdict of not guilty because we thought that there wasn't enough evidence. And I think there was only one group that decided that he was guilty, but absolutely loved that. Really, 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 really great experience. And then as Olivia mentioned, we went to Facebook. We got a talk from an in-house lawyer there to get another idea of what other types of lawyers do, not necessarily in law firms or in barristers' chambers. And we went so yeah, that was pretty much most of the trips. But what I have really, really thoroughly enjoyed is all of the extra kind of legal experience activities. So, Olivia said that she's shown restraint to applying to these, and I've shown no restraint whatsoever. I think I've applied to everything. So in the first year, we did the pro bono volunteer community, in which I was helping on the telephones for the Citizens Advice Bureau. That was it. So you are randomly assigned a law clinic. So my friend Alex, he's continued for a second year actually. He's been doing some work for a law firm, which has involved him drafting up some contracts and putting letters together, and he's had some really hands-on work over there, which has been really good for him. Next, I applied to the Refugee Law Clinic, which I have been helping people who are seeking asylum with their application forms to seek asylum here, which has involved advising them on the telephone and doing a lot of extensive research into asylum law and active things, what's happening in his country, so that might qualify for him to basically claim asylum over here. It's been really helpful to do real work. You know, it's not a problem question. This is somebody's actual life, and you're doing real responsible work, and you're actually trying to help somebody. It's been sobering, and it has been really, really great experience. The School Exclusion project, which I think Demetrios has already mentioned, the Southwark Council, has been really great as well. We are advocating for children that have been wrongfully excluded from school. Again, really important, really sobering work. That's obviously absolutely crucial, and has been, yeah, I've gained wonderful experience from it. I've also spoken to a couple of pupil barristers who are working at chambers that I would love to work at, who also worked in the School Exclusion project. So it's really kind of helpful to see that it's a real tangible track that can take you to the destination to which you may be headed. I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I will just quickly say again, Olivia, along with Olivia, I've been working on the fraud clinic, which has been wonderful, really eye-opening. We've received lots of really informational talks about different types of financial crime, which has been really eye-opening with Aaron Taylor. And now the clinic in the second year is more student-led, so we have to research the topics and then deliver the talks to the students and to Aaron, which again kind of puts responsibility on us. Developing our own research and legal skills, you know, is absolutely invaluable to someone who's wanting to work in this field. So yeah, that's what Goldsmiths has done. Aside from the lectures, I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I would strongly recommend it to anybody. Thanks so much.
Fabian, I'm very appreciative of this excellent insight, as expected, on the range of activities that you've undertaken, that you've participated in. You mentioned in the end the lectures, and of course, we spend a lot of time discussing, elaborating on the various professional development, extracurricular experiential learning activities that are part and parcel of the program. I was wondering whether you might also wish to offer a quick reflection on two things. First of all, how we went kind of out of the way in comparison to perhaps other departments at Goldsmiths, and we insisted on live synchronous lectures in this pandemic world, and so, you know, the idea was that to facilitate interaction to the extent possible, even you know, in the context of this very challenging environment where we still had to be in our homes away from each other. I personally found, you know, teaching that it made a huge difference. Being able to ask students questions, to hear students' thoughts on the questions that I was asking. It made a huge difference. And the second element, briefly, the fact that, you know, we also took an opportunity. There was a kind of a silver lining in this pandemic, that we have managed to bring into our program even more visiting professors, guest lecturers, NGOs, you know, professional organizations that we, of course, are always passionate about embedding into the program, but when it's a live lesson on campus, you know, in a way, it's more difficult to achieve. And in this post-pandemic or pandemic-influenced world, we were able to do that. And I know that you've participated in so many of these lectures. I mean, actively asking questions and engaging with the speakers. So, yeah, so I'd be very keen to hear your quick thoughts on these two matters.
Sure, absolutely. I have, having spoken to actually a number of my peers who are studying other subjects, many of the subjects are now completely pre-recorded lectures. So I have really not only been surprised at the kind of standard that Goldsmiths Law is upholding, but I've also really benefited from being able to interact with my lecturers and being able to communicate with my peers in the manner as you might, you know, attempt to in the classroom, in the lecture hall. It's really made a massive difference to trying to keep a personable element to, you know, in this really, really difficult time. It was really, really helpful. It's been really, really good to still have some kind of personable element, although, you know, we are only interacting essentially with our laptops. It's managed to keep that Goldsmiths flavor to the law course. I still feel like I'm doing a Goldsmiths law course as opposed to you know, something else. Again, as you mentioned, with the increase of legal activities and the professors that have joined, that have been able to join because of the online activities, it's been absolutely wonderful. Seeing, for example, Professor Leslie Thomas QC, who is just one of my absolute heroes, to be able to see him speak. He's now a visiting professor at Goldsmiths. Absolutely wonderful. I have really enjoyed listening to his work regarding police law and within the Black community, as he's, you know, that's his specialty, the world. So he's been an upstanding, long-standing hero of mine. So it's been absolutely wonderful to have access to him, so to speak. And I mean, just also kind of touching on that, the other barrister professors that we have, Aaron Taylor, for example, Aaron Wagner, Adam Wagner. It's just been wonderful to just be able to directly communicate with these barristers. I've been able to ask them advice from the applications. I've been able to ask them advice and help for when I've done one of my several moots that I've done over the 2 years. It's just been absolutely great. And again, as you said, the increase in online activity, the variety of the lectures that have been available on real social topics that are relevant has just been, yeah, it's been unprecedented. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Fabian. That's great. Thanks for reflecting in such detail and with unquestionable passion and dedication to the program. You know, we are very proud that you and Olivia and there's a number of other students are leading on many aspects, on many parts of the program. And I know that you too are proud to be part of Goldsmiths, as you've clearly once again demonstrated today. Thank you so much. Thanks, Olivia. Thank you so much, Plum. And thanks everyone for your attention and continued support. And of course, a big thanks to our prospective students as well. I hope you got a good glimpse, a flavor of what it feels like to be part of Goldsmiths, how, you know, the academics are working closely with the students, the type of opportunity that they are offered, but how, equally importantly, they contribute to shaping our program. You know, they are a living organism of what Goldsmiths Law is. I cannot emphasize that enough. You know, how we are one, students, academics, visiting professors, all the organizations, the NGOs, the human rights experts that are part of this family that makes up Goldsmiths Law. So I'll conclude on that. We'd be very keen to see you engage, continue to engage with us in the process of finalizing your thoughts on making Goldsmiths your first choice or insurer's choice, as the case may be. And we'd be delighted to provide any support that might be required in the weeks ahead and months ahead. So feel free to email us at law@gold.ac.uk, go to the blog, go to the Twitter page, go to the web pages more broadly, write to me individually if you like, write to Plum and write to my colleagues. You will find our email contacts on the web pages. We cannot stress enough how open this law school is as a society of intellectuals and intellectual activity. And, you know, we very much look forward to engaging with you in the near future in that context. Thank you ever so much, everyone, and see you all soon. Thank you.